what ABC would require, alcoholic beverage control, for alcoholic sales. The staff report and the council resolution incorporate all the required findings for the approval of the alcohol sales. The project meets the required separation distances from residential homes, schools, public parks, and places of worship. And if you have any questions about those distances, I can go over those. According to the ABC, there are 3 off-sale licenses allowed within this particular census tract based on the current population ratios. There are currently no off-sale licenses within this tract. So from an ABC perspective, it's not considered over-concentrated. However, this census tract map and shows here's the project site within this census tract, which extends essentially along Stetson and encompasses all of Seven Hills and further to the east. Then you have this one to the north and this one that has Page Plaza. There are alcoholic beverage licenses within here. The Union 76 has a beer and wine license, as does Walgreens and Walmart. And further, this census tract extends quite a way further north on Sanderson, where there are, at that intersection, additional licenses as well. But from an ABC concentration standpoint, this is how they look at it. In terms of CEQA compliance, an initial study and mitigated negative declaration was prepared. We had a number of technical studies that were prepared in response to concerns that we had raised and wanted looked at. This included light and glare, air quality and greenhouse gas, biological studies, geotechnical, drainage, noise impacts, traffic impacts, and water quality. The mitigation measures are incorporated in the conditions of approval and relate to aesthetics, which is more the lighting, directing the light downward, cultural resources, paleontological hazards and hazardous materials, noise, and traffic. In terms of the CEQA review period, it's the 20-day public review period. As I mentioned, we did receive 4 agency comments from South Coast Air Quality District, Caltrans, Department of Toxic Substances, and Valleywide Recreation. Most of these were pretty much a form letter or very easily responded to. South Coast wanted a little bit more information, which we provided, and there was no further comment from them. There were no public comments received during this period. There were comments, however, received immediately following the close of the comment period. One is from Delano and Delano, the appellate, in opposition to the project, and another Papademos group, which is in regard to acoustic studies and noise, and RK Engineering regarding traffic. Additional comments as the project proceeded through the Planning Commission hearing process was opposition from Tommy's Car Wash, additional letters from Delano and Delano dated May 14th, June 26th, and July 17th, letter from Thomas Zia dated May 14th, RK Engineering regarding traffic, 2 letters, May 15th and June 25th, and a letter from Rancho McCollin, the applicant, dated July 17th. All of these letters are in your packet in this mound there. City staff and the environmental consultants have prepared detailed responses to all of the comments. They're included in the staff report and in the attachments that you were provided as part of the packet. It has been staff's determination that no changes to the project are warranted as a result of the comments we've received. In terms of questions that the council may have, staff is certainly available to answer any questions. Also, our environmental consultant, Diane Jenkins, is here in terms of any questions regarding the environmental documents, and the applicant's project team, Mark Cooper is the applicant, Chris Gabriel from 7-Eleven, Efren Corona from Quick Quack, Mike Dickerson, MD Acoustics. Most of the questions in the comments seem to come from the noise and air quality and the traffic study, Scott Sato of Trans Solution. So if you have questions in regard to any of those technical reports, they are here. In conclusion, just a couple of points in summary. The proposed project, we believe, is essentially an infill project that has been thoroughly analyzed by staff, the environmental consultants, the technical consultants, the city attorney, and the Planning Commission through the course of 2 public hearings. The project is consistent with the city's general plan and policies, the zoning code, and the development standards. The project meets all of the required findings for conditional use permits, for alcoholic beverage permits, and for subdivision maps. The project has been conditioned to meet all of the city's requirements for new development, including architectural and site design, landscaping enhancements, public infrastructure improvements, and payment of all of applicable fees, including development impact fees. The potential environmental impacts of the project have been analyzed by technical experts, and mitigation measures have been added as project conditions to minimize any environmental effects to a level below significance. There's been extensive opportunity for public comment and review of the project, and the city has provided written comments and responses to all the comments raised. The project will replace an unimproved parking lot and underutilized prime intersection within the city of Hemet with a convenient service retail use that will provide increased property and sales tax to the city and add new jobs for local residents. We'll also provide a fully improved and expanded parking lot for the Micrometer Industrial Facility employees to utilize. So our recommendation for you tonight is to conduct the public hearing, take public testimony as outlined by the city attorney, I think, and the mayor pro tem, and then adopt resolution bill 18-046 as amended. There is one change to, you do have the updated resolution from your packet. There were two things. We did have it updated, it inadvertently didn't get in your latest packet. One was in terms of the dates, updating to today's date, and also there are distance measurements in the Planning Commission resolution for the alcoholic beverage use from residential property line. The original Planning Commission resolution had it from the business itself to the property line, and it's been corrected to property line to property line. It's still consistent with all the code requirements. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time, or wait till you have more.
Council, do you have any questions? I have a question for you.
Yes.
This was so thorough. You guys forgot one thing. Maybe I shouldn't ask it yet. I'm just going to have to ask it now. There's nothing in there about, like, public safety. Are there any requirements for that? Or
there are requirements. There are requirements.
Guards?
Yes. And 7-Eleven could probably address that, and I think intends to address it as part of their presentation. But this project, as with all projects, does get reviewed by our development review staff, including the police department. There are conditions of approval regarding security cameras as well as on-site security. There's also provisions for revocation of the CUP. There's no loitering, no transient activity. They have to comply with all the ABC and the city's alcoholic beverage regulations. They also have to have security cameras and meeting all the PD standards.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next part of this public hearing is going to go as follows. First, we will have 15 minutes for the appellant to speak, and then we will have the appellees 15 minutes. Next, we'll have public comment in favor of the appeal, those that are opposed to the project, and then in opposition to the appeal, those that are in favor of the project. Then the appellee will go first with his rebuttal. He will have 5 minutes, and the appellant will also have 5 minutes for his rebuttal. And then we'll close the public hearing. So first, Mr. Delano.
Yes, thank you. Yes, and it is Everett Delano of Delano and Delano. Appreciate that. It's pronounced like the town. So I want to take just a couple minutes. I'm not going to take much time at all. You've certainly received, as staff pointed out, you received plenty of letters from me already, so you don't need any more. If you don't mind flipping to the next page. What I want to start with is just to let you know what's going to happen. You're going to hear from Will Rogers, principally an architect, who's going to talk a little bit about general plan and some other important issues. And then you're going to hear from a couple residents and community members of concerned citizens of Hemet who want to talk a little bit about some of their concerns, including some of the safety issues. What you've got here is just one of the pages from your own findings, if you flip to the next page. And I don't intend to go through these line by line, item by item, into the next page, please. I just want to show you that you have a substantial amount of authority. Indeed, you have an obligation, pursuant to your municipal code, to make the findings that are required. And indeed, that's one of the reasons why we believe the appeal should be granted and the project should be denied tonight, because it is indeed inconsistent with both your general plan and your municipal code, as the evidence will be discussed tonight and to talk about, and as my letters previously went over in a great detail, so I won't repeat those issues now. I do, however, want to point out one thing. Staff was just saying a moment ago that just comparing a question of census tract, and that is really not the applicable consideration. In this case, the consideration is really about in relation to the
In order to
project
evaluate current traffic
Sure.
operations, Arcade reviewed the video that was taken in September 2017 during the traffic counts. To be
the
noted
video we had
that
there we go. All right. So anyway, so as I was saying, there are several inconsistencies, and in that question is a question of overconcentration. Indeed, if you looked back to Resolution 14-019, which I included as an attachment to my to one of my letters on this, you'll notice on page 7, for example, there's a discussion. Although that resolution denied a Type 21 license, so that in that sense it may be different, but the reality is the resolution specifically talks about an overconcentration at roughly 2 to 1 within the city of Hemet of alcohol uses and alcohol's off sales. I also, as we've discussed in many letters and you'll hear from tonight, there's significant impacts associated with this project in a number of areas requiring an environmental impact report: air pollution, blight, urban decay, traffic. I want to get to that in just a moment. Community character and noise. There are expert consultant letters on those issues. You have comments from DTSC, from SCA QMD, both expressing concerns about the project and its impacts that have not been adequately addressed. There are environmental justice considerations and the new State Senate Bill 1000 that need to be addressed in this context. And last but not least, I want to just talk about process for a moment. It's kind of amazing to me. We had to sue the city of Hemet in order to be able to get several documents. Several documents were turned over by the city of Hemet after we filed the lawsuit, and the judges ordered additional documents to be reviewed that are being withheld. But what really surprises me in that context is the notion that at the same time that we had to beg and plead and fight and ultimately sue in order to get documents turned over, the flip side is that when my clients submit documents to the city, within a matter of minutes they're provided to the other side. And that's very obvious by the fact that the letter from Mr. Cooper references a document that was only submitted at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the day that he sent the letter. So with that, let's play this quick piece about the traffic impacts, and then Mr. Rogers will pick up after that. Thank you.
RK Engineering Group has prepared a video review of the McCollin Retail Development traffic issues. In order to evaluate current traffic operations, RK reviewed the video that was taken in September 2017 during the traffic counts. To be noted that the future traffic will increase substantially over existing conditions at the intersection as a result of ambient growth and the project. The primary issue with the proposed development of the project is the existing and future traffic impacts to the intersection of Sanderson Avenue at Stetson Avenue, as seen in this video. This intersection already experiences significant traffic congestion in the PM peak hours, especially adjacent to the site. This video was taken the day of the traffic counts at about 4:31 p.m. The Holland site is directly across from the intersection and is the vacant dirt area shown in the video. The westbound left turn pocket shown in the far left and the northbound through lanes shown in the far right in the video currently back up substantially during the PM peak hours, as shown in the video. The backup occurs along the entire frontage of the proposed McCollin site. The westbound left turn lane currently exceeds the traffic capacity of a single left turn lane. As noted in the city's general plan transportation element, there is a need to improve the intersection to add additional traffic lanes in order to accommodate the existing, future, and project traffic. Therefore, the project should contribute to the funding of the required improvements at the intersection.
Good evening, council members. My name is Will Rogers. I am a landscape architect. My specialty is visual analysis, and I also was a former senior planner at the city of San Diego. So I understand planning quite well. I'm not going to go through. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly because a lot of what I'm going to say has been mentioned before. You already know the location. One other thing I want to emphasize is planning. The general plan is a blueprint for the city and how it should be developed. And I beg you to consider the fabric of your city. I mean, there's some really good starts here in Hemet by the development across the street. So if you consider the fabric, and you really only get one shot to change the way the city looks and the way the city feels. The city, or the project is located where the blue arrow is located, and the existing conditions are that there are several high-quality projects around this proposed development. And I feel that the quality of the project could be a lot higher than is shown. Existing car washes, there's a bunch of car washes around, noted by the stars. Those are all existing car washes within the proximity of the proposed new car wash. There's some inconsistencies with the general plan. Policy 6.1 asks to provide diversity in commercial districts and avoid unnecessary competition. Well, you have 3 car washes within a 2-mile radius, and provide improved wages. Car washes don't really provide high wages. Existing gas station sites also are within 2 miles. There's 3 of them, and there's 24 gas stations in Hemet, and 14 of them are within 2 miles. And there's some inconsistency with the general plan that I found. The enforcement of the regulations and laws pertaining to local retail use and unhealthy substances such as tobacco and marijuana and alcohol, which the liquor sales does provide the sales of liquor. Regulation, the sensitive land use, incompatibility, prohibited, and deterioration of residential communities. Now, there's a really nice residential community adjacent to this. So according to the socioeconomical report, there's an oversaturation of liquor licenses in Hemet. There are 21 liquor licenses in the Stinson Avenue area. And across the street, Walgreens is already supplying alcohol sales, so I'm not sure there's a need for any additional. The proposed site plan, there are some inconsistencies with the site plan and the landscape plan. The site plan, the general plan really states that you should retain industrial land, not downzone it, mainly because it provides economic jobs for people. The circulation is poor, and maybe a more appropriate development would be a light industrial site, something that provides a lot of jobs. And the transition between the car wash and the existing residential homes is really poor. As the previous staff mentioned, they reduced the setback from 30 to 24. Car washes make a lot of noise. Vacuums make a lot of noise. The landscape plan is inconsistent. If you look at the plaza across the street, there's a kind of a gateway concept too that has the palm trees in the corner and the sign. Nothing like that's being proposed across the street. And you have one chance to make this look like a really nice development area and provide a similar high quality development as was across the street. You want to create a sense of place. The site plan, circulation is poor. Normally driveways are to be opposite each other. This is diagonal, and it will create some issues with circulation. The sound of the stacking the cars, people waiting to get in to get their car washed with the radios going, and the sound is poor. Then you have the vacuums that are making a lot of noise. So alternative site plan might be, I sketched this up really quickly, is a light industrial complex and maybe a light manufacturing more appropriate where the offices face the residential community. The proposed project has stacking of cars, as I mentioned, the 24-hour alcohol sales, which is not very appropriate. But this slide really kind of provides more of that passive and active uses. The top slide is the proposed use, and you see the sound waves that would go across. Now, there is a tall wall at 16 feet, but a two-story home is around 24 feet. So the shadowing from the vacuum and the stacking of cars is going to impede and impact the second story windows of that residence, and several of them along the way. An alternative would be to do something more passive, where you have the area of activity sandwiched in between two buildings and projects the sound up. So, in summary, I'd like you to consider the location and use based on noise and air quality. Consider the addition of a 24-hour alcohol sales, what that'll do to the neighborhood community. Consider the adverse impact of the high impact to the high quality community and neighborhood, and consider inconsistencies with the general plan, which I mentioned, and the loss of industrial jobs and higher paying jobs. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you very much. Mr. Cooper? Oh, we have one more? Okay.
Good evening, council members. My name is Maria Kasian, and I'm the representative for Concerned Citizens of Hemet. So who are Concerned Citizens of Hemet? Concerned Citizens of Hemet are comprised of...
Pull your mic down.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Concerned Citizens of Hemet are comprised of residents from the Willow Walk community, Terra Linda, Salmon Seven Hills, and some of the surrounding communities, as well as other business owners. And I'm here to talk today about some of the concerns that they have. And one of them is that the gas tanks are or may be within 300 feet of the residential area, and therefore they may not be eligible for FHA insurance. I believe that we discussed this briefly last time, but we never said with certainty if it was or were not. And that would definitely affect about 7 homes if that was the case. Why do we oppose the project and support the appeal here? Well, it's because homeowners did do their due diligence before they purchased the home. And before they purchased the home, they knew it was different kind of zoning. They expected a different kind of project. So now they're faced with the gas station in the corner and believe that it will increase noise, traffic, homelessness, or panhandling, vagrancy, and feel that the car wash is not definitely zoned for that particular use. And here I just want to show the proximity of the project and the adjacent park. And according to the California Air Resource Board, children's needs should be considered in this situation. And I know that we said last time versus private versus public, but I still want you to take a look at that. Look, it's just a dividing wall right there. This is the project, this is the wall, and this is the park. So it would definitely affect the children that play there. This is the wall at the front. I know it's been said that the wall, it's I believe we said 16 feet that divides the Willow Walk with the gas station. But if somebody was to do a beer run, they could certainly just run through the front and jump over, which is the concerns of some of the Willow Walk residents. I'm going to go as fast as possible. Do we really need a car wash? 14 gas stations within a 2-mile radius, 8 gas stations within a 1-mile radius, and 23 car washes total in Hemet. This is really briefly, I want to show this. I went and did a property visit at 7-Eleven located at 104 North San Jacinto in Hemet. And as you can see, I took pictures of graffiti here and here. My visit was on June 26, 2018. I visited the project again in July I want to say 17, I can't see. And that graffiti was still there in addition to more. It was not taken care of. Again, with the location here, 7-Eleven at 1490 San Jacinto in San Jacinto. Again, another visit on a different day. The graffiti was still there. Panhandling, vagrancy, homelessness there. 7-Eleven at 1210 North State Street in San Jacinto. Graffiti here. My visit on 626. And my visit again on 717. As you can see, graffiti. There's some graffiti here that you might not be able to tell, but that's right there. Again, 7-Eleven on Florida. Graffiti there. Deferred maintenance. And in my visit again, the graffiti was still there. Why am I mentioning it? Because this is what the residents and the members of concerned citizens of Hemet do not want to see. Is it really a gas station the best use for that land? This is our concern. It's been a month. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cooper? Are they out of time? Yes. Okay. You'll have 15 minutes. You'll have 15 minutes also.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. I'm Mark Cooper. I'm here representing, not true, I'm representing Rancho McCollin, Apelli, the applicant. Before I get started, I'm going to be brief. I think it's important this evening we have some people here from 7-Eleven and Quick Quack that I'd like to get up in front of you so you can hear from them. Before I start, I don't know how to do this. I have a letter from my traffic engineer that I would like to either read into the record if you'd like, or can I just hand it to someone? Can I hand it to Carol? Okay, thank you. I've been coming out to this valley for 30 years, and more specifically, I've been bragging about this specific intersection for the last 20. And I'm going to come back up later for questions and maybe some rebuttal. But I have with me, if you have questions later, the specific plan for the Page Plaza Walmart Center. And I also have the specific plan for the Stetson Crossing project. Both of these are my projects, and I appreciate Mr. Rogers' comments about the planning for the intersection, and I agree with everything he said about 25 years ago. One of the things that I pointed out, and I'm going to be a little off script here just because of the things that I just heard, but I'll be very brief. I'll be brief. I'll hurry. In 2004, the Walmart Supercenter opened at this intersection. I've got some pictures that we don't show. I've got a zillion aerial photos when we were building that thing, and that building was about 80% up, and they weren't growing wheat, but that's the expression at the Willow Walk community. These came about the same time. I think Willow Walk was developed in 2005 or 6. But my point is, this intersection changed significantly in 2004 when Walmart and Walgreens opened. And we've been trying to get people to come to that intersection, not only with Page Plaza, but with Stetson Crossing. And the things that have occurred, starting with the lake, the Dominigoni Parkway, the high school, and the future of Stetson, if you will. Stetson's going to be your easiest way out of town at some point in time when they finally build that highway. So anyway, this project started back in 2008 when we had a discussion with Macrometer. We were all cocky because we had a deal with Kohl's on your property, and we thought, well, we need to talk to Macrometer. Crometer doesn't want to move, didn't want to move then. They came up with the idea of maybe we could cash in our corner since this intersection is changing. We'd rather have a parking lot off the corner. And so this thing is just gestated through this recession thing we went through. This is an opportunity for Crometer, I believe, from the city's interest, if I can get on your side of the table, to recommit to that facility. That facility opened in 1955, so it's about as old as my knees. The Holland family, it's called McHolland because the Holland and the McCall families are related, and McCall bought that from Holland, and now it's kind of reversing. So that in and of itself was where this came from, Crometer wanting to improve their facility, get off the corner. In our opinion, this is a great use or uses at this corner. I boast to people throughout this valley, throughout this region, but particularly in this valley, this is the best intersection. This is better than Florida and Sanderson. You can talk about the congestion all you want, but this is where these types of businesses need to go, in my opinion. We're not, I don't think we're amending the general plan. I think we're falling within the business park use that's there. We do need a conditional use permit. Same people, going back to Mr. Rogers' comments, same people that designed Page Plaza and Stetson Crossing have worked on this project. Same traffic engineer, same sign guy. So this will be a nice project. These are good tenants. Very quickly, 7-Eleven and Quick Quack. When we underwrite this from a developer standpoint, we do a lot of the due diligence that the city does. Do we want these people in our community? Will they be representative of the types of businesses we want? From our standpoint, these are two corporate clients. Chris Gabriel is going to get up and talk about 7-Eleven. This is the largest convenience store operator in the country, the world, maybe the country. I think they are. And we're very proud to have them. I mentioned last time I was here that you've already got 3 7-Elevens in town. San Jacinto has 2. And I think there's been a lot of disparaging things said about them, and I think we're going to hear from some 7-Eleven folks as well tonight. The capital investment that these two tenants are willing to make in your community, this is millions of dollars that they're willing to invest in this corner. And this goes back to the crime, public safety. The businessmen, the business people that run these businesses aren't going to make that kind of investment and let it be downtrodden by criminals, vagrants, or whoever else we're concerned about. So the last thing I want to say is, with respect to, I can glaze over real quick if we start talking about technical studies. I felt really good. There's a little self-introspection. Are we doing the right thing? We spent over a year and a half this time working on this project, going through your planning staff, doing all the environmental reports, the technical studies, and we even made it through your planning commission. And the decision was that our technical studies did say there are no significant impacts, at least significant impacts that can't be mitigated. And I think that says a lot, and I'm here tonight to hope that you'll hold up what the Planning Commission found in our favor. I'm going to introduce Chris Gabriel first. I may stay up here. Chris is going to do a PowerPoint on 7-Eleven. Efrain Corona is here from Quick Quack. These are very sharp people and very serious about their companies, and I appreciate them being here. And if we have some time left, Madam Mayor, I have a couple of our consultants that may come up and address some of the things that were said about the traffic and noise. Thank you.
Hi there. Thank you, Council. My name is Chris Gabriel, and I'm a consultant representing 7-Eleven. I've had the opportunity to be a actual field consultant, business consultant for 7-Eleven, the corporation. So I have a very good perspective of operationally how it works inside, as well as both on the corporate level and on the in-store level. I'm also an outside consultant that works with businesses like 7-Eleven, connecting them with the community and working on issues moving forward. And forgive me if I am sweating profusely, but it is partly hot as Hades outside. And the second thing is I am nervous. I am nervous. I'm getting a bunch of texts from my wife because my young 8-year-old daughter is representing Southern California today in North Carolina at the Junior Olympics. So whether you support 7-Eleven or you don't, it's okay. There's a young girl from the Southland trying to represent our area in the javelin, the shot put, and the long jump. So fingers and toes crossed. But anyway, thank you. So if I get excited, I'm excited for both because I love 7-Eleven and what it can do for the community, but also what's going on with my lovely girl. So quickly, just as a fact check, just want to let you guys know we're not asking for a 24-hour alcohol license. I don't think we could. We're not asking for that. It's a type 20 as well, not a type 21, so no distilled spirits, no whiskey, so on and so forth. Beer and wine, the regular 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. as well. And in terms of the comment made about the FHA and the gas station, just FYI, the 76 stations that came before is about 187 feet from that development. So just in terms of what does conflict with it, just wanted to throw those two counterpoints out there. So briefly, the presentation that I'm going to give is going to talk a little bit about 7-Eleven's history, some that you know and some that you don't, but kind of shows how we're growing and how we're responding to the customers. Number two is our shifting in focus to really becoming a fresh food destination. Talk a little bit about 7XL University that I had to go through, but talks about the 7-Eleven tools and support that the staff get, which makes it a little bit different than your regular convenience store. A little bit about asset protection management, our crime deterrence program, as well as things that we do in the community. Community partnerships, philanthropic partnerships, and overall trying to figure out how we can be a better community steward. So, as some folks know, especially my dad would always tell me when I went to work for him, it started as an ice company, Southland Ice, in 1927 in good old Texas, and really was supplying ice to the local community. The convenience store aspect came from a sales associate. It's very 7-Eleven, the idea of servant leadership, bottom up. Not top-down driven business, but taking ideas from the people and bringing them into what we consider best practices. So after that, we started expanding our assortment to include eggs, milk, and butter. Why? Because customers asked for it. And then in 1946, 7-Eleven expanded its hours to 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., thereby getting the name 7-Eleven, which is kind of cool. And in 1963, 7-Eleven became the first convenience store to be open 24 hours a day. And in 1966, a day that changed the world forever, the Slurpee was born. Other milestones, we were the first one to offer coffee to go in a cup, which sounds crazy, but we actually were the first ones to do that. We were the first ones to sell fountain drinks to go, and the first to sell gas within a convenience store. Where are we today? So from Southland Ice in 1927, that one little store, we have well over 8,000 stores in the United States, over 10,000 stores in North America, and close to 60,000 plus stores worldwide. So we're constantly growing and we're constantly responding. But how have we been able to grow? And one of the biggest ways that we've been able to grow, especially if you grew up in the 80s and 90s like I did, you went to 7-Eleven, you played Duck Hunt, you played the video games, there was a guy smoking cigarettes, you were drinking pop, you had the Slurpee. That was kind of what it was. But in order to do business a little better, 7-Eleven had to be better, and it had to respond to the needs of the community, had to respond to the needs of the customers. So it started to become a fresh food destination. And if you want to just, I like looking at the numbers. About 15 years ago, the percentage of fresh food sales to total sales was about 2-3%. Today, fresh food sales account for about 20% of our store's total sales. And this is generally, some higher, some lower, but right around 20. And that's a pretty amazing shift. And one of the reasons that we've been able to do that is that we've been partnering with local commissaries. For example, we have a CDC or a centralized distributing center in Tustin. So sometimes you might go into a 7-Eleven and you see people with this machine that almost looks like a large iPad, and they're looking at the sandwiches, and they realize, well, these sandwiches, they were made in Tustin, but they only got a 2-day code on it. So we got to go ahead and write this down and say, how many do we have? When are they going to expire? Oops, we got to let these go. How many more are we going to bring in? So everything is very mechanized. Everything logistically makes sense, but it's done so not just to maximize sales, but also to maximize freshness of the products. Because we don't want to be the butt of the joke, the egg salad sandwich that you leave out from 7-Eleven that ends up becoming animate and walking down the street. That was 20 years ago. Today, we don't have many vendors selling sandwiches. It comes from one place that we can control quality. And that's why we've been able to grow our fresh food in that area. We also have executed a robust food safety plan. The cleanliness of our employees, the cleanliness of our sales floor, and the cleanliness of our grills and our fresh food areas have improved substantially. Additionally, we've also increased assortments of regional products to include healthier ingredients. One of the great things, having worked in Iowa for 3 years, no GMOs, no genetically modified organisms. We get as much organic products as we can, but we're also very conscious of what we put in to our foods as well. We've also expanded our private brands of 7-Eleven foods that are not only organic, but they also provide an affordable price. So the delivered fresh daily, that's kind of a mantra that you learn when you come into 7-Eleven as an employee. Things are delivered fresh daily. So when we have that distributing center in Tustin, you go ahead and before 10 a.m., the employee gets on that little machine and says, okay, how many donuts do we need for tomorrow? Go ahead and sends it. How many salads do we need for tomorrow? Goes ahead and sends it. Sends this information. It's received in Tustin. And then Tustin goes ahead and says, all right, for these stores, we got to make this. We got to make it now. And then by 8 o'clock, they're done making it. It is on the truck, and it gets delivered right to the store. So imagine how quick that is and how fresh that is. Time's coming up. Great.
I'm sorry, your 15 minutes is up.
15 minutes is up.
Yes.
Can I get just...
You guys will have 5 more minutes
Afterwards, okay. And just in conclusion, just to give the last 10 seconds, nothing on asset protection management, crime deterrent, just resides on the individual franchisee. It's a team plan. 7-Eleven, being a large corporation, has several departments within the company that helps figure out solutions for each individual store. And we'll talk more on the rebuttal.
Yeah, in your 5 minutes. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Sarah, do we have anyone scheduled to speak in favor of the appeal? That's those that are opposed to the project. That's who's going to speak, and you'll have 3 minutes each.
We have quite a few
Okay.
that are
There's a procedure for this.
in favor of the bill.
Yes, in favor.
Quite a few. So as I read your name, I'm going to give 3 names, and you'll need to stand in order. Okay, so I didn't know that before, so let me go through
Okay.
them. They just handed me a whole stack.
Okay.
So again, I'll call you up in threes. Be prepared to speak. We have a lot of speakers. So I have Brian Aga. I have, and I'm sorry, the writing is not clear on this, so I'm going to, oh, actually, this is Will Rogers, so you already spoke, correct, or you're going to speak again? Okay. Laura Rivera and Carolina Alvarez. Are all 3 of you going to speak?
If I could have the next 2 speakers line up over here against the wall, that'd be great.
So Laura Rivera and Carolina Alvarez.
All right. You'll have 3
Hi.
minutes.
Good evening. My name is Brian Aga, 1111 South Sanderson Avenue. First of all, I just want to say that approving this project will not be equitable to other business alike. Why is that? as a business owner, as a developer also in the city of Hemet, I'm not going to go further about the liquor license, because in 2014, there's 11 page that the Planning Commission denied a liquor license and a beer and wine license because the city brought in the police department and they testified that that crime in that area, it's really great if you bring another beer and wine license. And also they mentioned that the city itself does not go by what the ABC goes by. They have their own code, which is oversaturated by 2 to 1, therefore they cannot deny it. Second of all, just to make it quick, we have purchased a land right on Sanderson and Fruitville, 9.13 acres, and we presented to the city to develop a gas station with a car wash, including the whole entire 9 acre. After we brought it in and we met with them twice, they deny us that project. And the reason why is because the lighting and the noise is not going to be right for the 3 residents right in front of that project from Freedville. Even though we tried to change it, we met with them a couple of times and they denied us that project. I know also the Stetson crossing, it's belonged to the city. We tried to purchase a corner lot and they denied us that because they have their own planning. And the new developer actually submitted to the city and we have the plan, and they put it in there as a car wash. The city, and I quote, denied that. They told them to go change it because there's many car washes that are in that area. They made him change their plan. Knowing that, why is they approving this and denying others? I have all the respect for 7-Eleven. Actually, we are a business. We own 7-Eleven in San Diego, and we know how the operation works. Remember, every corporate, as far as 76, as far as ARCO, as far as 7-Eleven, they have their standards. But who running that station? Franchisee. The actual corporate comes in, visit once a month, once every 2 months. We have 7-Elevens for more than 10 years, and we know how they operate. Yes, they have a great operation, but the franchisee, as you can see from Maria, that how she showed you how is the business being operated by the franchisees themselves, is totally different situation. I know. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
There might have been some confusion on what the term of support or in favor of. So I'm just confirming that I now have 4 speakers that are in support of the appeal. And that is Laura Riviera, Carolina Alvarez, Robert Stratton, and Laura Hernandez. Is that correct?
Laura and Robert are going to speak and they're in support of the appeal. The other 2 were no.
Okay, so that's the only other person that's going to speak.
And we have these 3 people that are going to speak here. Laura Hernandez.
Okay.
And 3 more here. I'll write it down.
All right, let's get 2 or 3 lined up on the wall, please, so that we're not wasting time. Those that are speaking in favor of the appeal, that means that you're opposed to the project. You have to have your paper filled out, and you can get in line, please. All right, ma'am, you can go next.
Hello, my name is Laura Hernandez. I had Mr. Thomas Marino on there, but he had to leave because our son is disabled. He suffers from impulsive control disorder, a severe anxiety disorder, and ODD. We chose the Willow Walk to live because it's quiet, it's calm. My daughter goes to West Valley High School. My son also has epilepsy disorder, and I didn't bring him because it's so hot. I could put him in a seizure, and he has a liver disease. That on top of adding another liquor license, more crime. You know, my daughter walks to school every day and back, and already the panhandling, already the people that approached my girls as they're leaving the community for whatever reason, whether it's to Walmart, Walgreens, it is very scary. I mean, what would you guys do if in your backyard or next door to you they would propose something like this? You know, we have our community park, but I mean, a wall for my son that is disabled, he can't even go to regular school. He has He is homeschooled. Why don't we I mentioned it before, I've been to the meetings here, why not open another charter school for us, people that our kids cannot go to regular school? We are a low-income family, and what's another gas station going to do for us? Another car wash? I don't even own a car. Where is that going to benefit me or my disabled son? This is the city of Hemet. This is the city we live in. And I don't see nothing for children, a water park, one water park for our kids. And my son's 11. I know the gentleman that spoke, he's very proud of his daughter. Well, I can't be proud of my child in that sense, but I'm proud in the progress he's made from his disability 3-4 years ago, where we were to where we're at. We offer our children this home, this sanctuary, because it's really hard. The world is changing. It's difficult. Our son-in-law was murdered at the 800 block of Sunjoy Drive. I'm sure everybody heard of that. Murdered. The man that was just a hit and run, he died, and he was in a wheelchair. What more do we want? Why more liquor? Why can't we make it something that's going to benefit our children? Let's stop thinking of us, the adults. I've been here for 20 years in this city. Why not think of our kids before anything else, and the people that live in the Willow Walk, in the Seven Hills, and across the street? Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Robert Stratton. I've grown up in this valley, moved here when I was 11, raised my family, moved back and forth between Hemet and San Jacinto, and, I lived out in San Jacinto for a while near Sagecrest Homes, near the 7-Eleven there, and I saw that community go downhill. We've got, homeless people that live out in the riverbed. The 7-Eleven is like a magnet towards, they just come out there, and I'd go to get my gas, in the morning, and, spend 50 or 60 bucks to tank up and get some stuff at 7-Eleven, and, those panhandlers are just making a beeline for my car every time. I almost ran over a guy that was passed out asleep in the gutter, not even, off on the sidewalk. He's like in the middle of the road, and it was so dark in the morning, and like, oh, there's a guy sleeping there. And so anyways, we've had home invasion robberies in Sagecrest Homes, and my little girl at night, she'd say, oh, Dad, I can't go to sleep, I'm scared, and I'd say, don't worry, sweetie, they're not going to come back. And sure enough, 10 minutes later, those guys are back in my neighborhood. We're all looking on our security cameras with our high-def cameras that we have, that we all installed, and license plate readers that we've done, and the police are telling us, these guys are, this has been reduced, and now it's a misdemeanor. They can break into my house and steal one of my guns, and if it's under $1,500, it's a misdemeanor. It's like we have to protect ourselves, and I just see, I would go tell the guy at 7-Eleven, hey, dude, you need to get rid of these panhandlers, and, we need to do something about that. And he's like, yeah, whatever, these guys are posting, waiting right by the front door, not even waiting till you come out of the store. They're not even afraid they're going to be run off. And so, move over to, better neighborhood in Hemet, but, it's like things are getting bad over here too. And so I'm just trying to speak up for my fellow citizens, because, I see it getting bad everywhere, and you guys seem like really smart people, and hopefully you'll help us out. And, like the other lady was saying, you don't want that in your backyard. We have a lot of empty land and places where things can be developed, and just kind of keep a little distance between our homes and families and kids. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Brian Hoban, Tommy's Express Car Wash, co-owner. Want to thank you for the access that you've given me over the past few days and hearing my concerns. I'm not going to rehash them at this time. Tommy's Express Car Wash will accept and respect whatever decision you come up with tonight. We are not part of any group that's here tonight. We've not encouraged anybody to come and oppose this project in any way. We've not printed shirts, signs. We've not been a part of that. I wanted to clear that up. I heard that come back at me today. Absolutely not. One caveat, actually two. If approved, we would like to see a condition of approval that the city reserves the right to verify that certain assertions made by Quick Quack are adhered to. One would be 100% recycled water, and two would be that their sound level is less than that of Micrometer. And that's it. We're in support of the project with those stipulations. Thank you.
Okay, there's no one else that is going to speak.
I have Carolina Alvarez and Laura Rivera. If they're not here, then I have...
No one else opposing the project wants to speak.
Oh, actually, they just turned in some more names. So, Bianca Trujillo, Itzel Alvarez, and Teresa Maltar. I'm sorry? Mountain. Okay. So you three will go up. That is all that are in favor of the bill, and then we'll... Next.
Great. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name's Teresa Malagin. I live at 1402 Noletti Avenue. I'm actually right next to this intersection.